In this chapter 3, let us see how we diagnose kidney diseases in a person. In this we would call it as a stitch in time saves nine. If kidney problem is not mended in time, it is definitely like a time bomb that can go on to CKD, and unfortunately CKD till today is not curable. Cost of treatment becomes very high, and associated problem like diabetes and heart problems jumpstones the mortality and increases the mortality to more than 10 times if the person did not have a kidney problem. So if we do not detect kidney problem early, it can become a problem, but if we detect it early, it can be treated easily. So it is advisable to go for a checkup to a kidney doctor when there is a doubt, or in all children to see if their urinary system is properly developed. So who are those people who should have a kidney checkup? Since the disease is asymptomatic, we have to categorize people who how do we screen such high risk individual and help us diagnose of kidney disease? So let us assume anyone can develop a kidney problem, but the risk is more if someone has symptom of a kidney disease that includes severe fatigue and weakness, changes in the urinary function, getting up at night few times to urinate, urge to urinate more often but not able to do so when using the restroom, urine that is dark than usual, urine that is foamy or bubbly, urine that contains blood, feeling pressure or having difficulty in urinating, pain during passing urine, or there are changes in the skin which breaks and is itchy, there are scars or scars in the leg, the breath becomes ammoniacal, bad breath, patients who have nausea or vomiting, unexplained backache. So all these individuals are necessarily to go for a checkup. And those who are diabetic have to have their kidney checked at least once when they are diagnosed, and if they have a high blood pressure, very frequently until things are under control. Another group of people are those who have uncontrolled blood pressure. Normally blood pressure is treated by general physician or even MBBS or family physician, but when there is an environmental factors like inactivity, stress, obesity, tobacco, age, excess salt and alcohol intake combined with environmental interaction with abnormal genetic basis, then hypertension goes in for attack the kidney and will be a major cause of kidney failure. So somebody, when the BP is not controlled and not below 130 systolic and 90 diastolic, has to have a kidney checkup. Other group of high risk individuals are those who have kidney problem in the family, like kidney disease, diabetes or high BP. Those who smoke, obese and all above age of 60 has to have their kidneys checked periodically. And even in those females who consume or male who consume a lot of painkillers for long time, especially for body pain, backache, and those who have abnormality of urinary tract, they are also considered as high risk individual and need to undergo screening to make sure their kidneys are safe. So how do we test them, and how do you diagnose that somebody has a kidney problem? First, the doctor takes a detailed history, thoroughly examines the person, measures the blood pressure and then advises certain tests. The most common are urine test, blood test and, if necessary, radiological tests. If everything is fine, okay, no problem, can have a good Christmas. If not, first you have to give your urine sample, and this is most inexpensive and immediately available test which can be done anywhere in the lab, anywhere nearby, small or big labs. But normal urine report does not rule out kidney problems, but definitely it gives us the clue as what is happening, and then we may go in for 24 hours urine collection. So this is a frequently used urine strip test where each and every reaction in the strip tells us what is happening in the kidney. Presence of sugar, though is not a kidney disease, indicates diabetes. Presence of protein in the urine in any form is a problem and it should never be neglected. Presence of protein in the urine can be the first and the earliest and the only warning symptom of chronic kidney disease and even heart disease. For example, proteinuria is the first sign of kidney involvement in diabetes. Never can it be ignored as just like that 1+ or 2+. And common cause of proteinuria includes high BP, infection, bladder infection, uncontrolled cases of diabetes, glomerulonephritis or nephrotic syndrome. Color of urine. Color of urine is very important. Whenever someone sees that his color is different, like reddish or Coca-Cola color or greenish or brownish, they have to bring it to the attention of the doctor. So normally a fizzy urine shows it is excess protein. Clear urine says it is excess water. Transparent straw yellow is normal. Dark yellow can happen in sometimes dehydration, which could be honey color. Brown or orange happens in dehydrated condition or when there is jaundice or when somebody takes too much of contaminated food with dye in it. Pink or red color happens when we eat beetroots, too much blueberries, rhubarb, or when there is blood in the urine. Blue or green color rarely in genetic disease or bacteria or food dye, and certain color never exist which can be finged coloring. Presence of pus in the urine indicates urinary tract infection. Presence of protein and red blood cells provide diagnostic clue for inflammatory kidney disease. We call it glomerulonephritis. So normal urine, when it becomes this color, is definite cause of worry. Microalbuminuria is what is protein in a very low quantity. If this is present in urine, it is called microalbuminuria, and this condition is reversible unlike proteinuria. This test done provides the first and the earliest clue for the diagnosis of kidney involvement in diabetes. At this stage, the disease is reversible and there are strips available to check for the microglobulinuria. So micral test is the common strips that we use to measure how much micro level protein leaks in the blood and the urine. Other urine tests that we do are 24 hours urine for albumin to see if it is what is the quantity of protein that is lost. Culture and sensitivity is done to see which bacteria is affecting the urinary tract and to select the suitable antibiotic. We also do urine tests to see for tuberculosis, certain parasites, certain fungus, and also virus. In sports and other thing, commonly they use to see for the drug abuse or even to check the drug quantity in the urine. Other indication which is done is to check the urinary DNA to find out if it's a boy or a girl. Urinary DNA testing is also now increasing to diagnose cancers. And next we go is for the blood test. The commonest indicator of the healthiness of the kidney is done by using two common tests, which is called creatinine and urea. Half of urea, creatinine and urea are two waste products which are removed from the blood by the kidney. When the kidney function slows down, these waste products accumulate in the blood and they are very easy to detect. So normal value of creatinine is 0.9 to 1.4. Normal value of urea is 20 to 40. Their higher value suggests greater damage to the kidney, and creatinine level is more reliable guide for kidney function than the blood urea level. Apart from that, creatinine, if it jumps suddenly, is more indicator that there is a problem which is happening, and this will be disproportionate to urea. Suppose the creatinine value is 0.9 and the next report shows 1.2, then 1.4. This is called rise in creatinine, which can happen in acute renal failure or dehydration or drugs or in chronic renal failure sometimes. Next test that we do is to check the blood hemoglobin level. Healthy kidneys help in the production of red blood cells which contain hemoglobin, and when this hemoglobin is low we call it as anemia. So anemia is a common important sign of chronic kidney disease. Normal value of hemoglobin is 13 to 15, anything less than 10 is called anemia. There are also different blood tests frequently performed in a kidney patient includes to see if they have other diseases. So commonly we use blood sugar measurement, total protein level measurement, cholesterol levels, electrolytes, sodium, potassium, chloride, bicarbonate, calcium, phosphorus. To see for infection we see ASO titers, complement level, certain antibodies, autoantibodies, virus like hepatitis B, C, HIV, and latest what we do is cystatin C, which is also a marker like urea and creatinine, but this goes up much earlier than creatinine. There are many other immune markers to see and know whether kidney filter is in damage or tubes are in damage. Once blood test is over, we go to see exactly inside what is happening to the kidney by radiological assessment. Commonest we do is ultrasound of the kidney, which is quick and safe tests which provide valuable information such as the size of the kidney, whether it has cyst, stone or tumor, how the kidney looks like, the density of the kidney, whether it is failing or it is congested or the blood supply is good. Ultrasound can also detect blockage to the urine flow anywhere in the kidney, bladder or ureter, and in chronic kidney failure both the kidneys are usually found to be smaller in size. So an ultrasound machine necessarily needs to be used in a hospital, where a probe which generates sound waves, like how the bats send their signals, reflects back from the kidney, and this gives us the signal readings. So this is liver and this is the kidney. Center portion is the tubes which collect urine from the outer filters which is present. So we see the length of the kidney 10 cm, width of the kidney 4 cm, and these are the place where filters are kept, and this is 1.3 to 2.5 cm. So this is the tube. If the color of the parenchyma changes to more like liver consistency, we can see the liver is little more dense than the kidney, which is little darker. If this density comes to the kidney, they call increase in cortical thickening, or the cortical density is increased, which indicates swelling in the kidney or damage to the kidney. Shrinkage of the size of the kidney is an indicator of CKD. Apart from this, plain X-ray abdomen also is useful to diagnose stones in the kidney, but it is avoided during pregnancy as the child can be affected by the X-ray. The other tests we do is CT scan, MRI, angiogram and other nuclear scans. So this shows X-ray of the abdomen, where you can see the stones like Staghorn calculus in the kidney area. Other kidney is not usually visible, but you can see the outline of the kidney here, which doesn't have stone. And in order to visualize both the kidney, we inject a dye which is called intravenous pyelography, and the dye gets into the kidney and comes out in the ureter. So both the kidneys, we can see the dye coming in. This is the normal tube. Here you can see the tube is swollen because there is a block in the tube, and once the dye comes to the bladder, it gets accumulated, and this is because it is radio opaque. So this is intravenous pyelogram, which is done to detect how the urinary tract is and where the blockage are. This is a CT scan machine where a patient gets in, and the machine makes a circular beam of X-rays which then picks up the signal, and once it is reconstituted, we can see clearly the kidneys with a stone in the kidney. So this is a CT scan images. MRI gives more clearer picture of the soft tissue, the skin and the muscle, and also the fat surrounding the kidney. So whenever there is infection, this area becomes inflamed, and this is more clearly seen in an MRI. Other advantage of MRI is MRI angiogram. Angiogram detects the blood flow to the kidney, blood supply to the kidney. Here we see the artery supplying the kidney. Normally there is one artery, but in some 20% people there may be double vessel artery in the kidney blood supply. If the blood supply is blocked because of some reason, the person can have high blood pressure, which is called renal artery stenosis. The other test is CT axial angiogram. So here we see the kidney in a three-dimensional form, where it gives us the image of blood, not only the blood vessel to the kidney but also the parenchyma of the kidney. So we see here, this is the normal kidney where it is smooth, whereas in the other kidney we see there is a defect. There is no blood supply or something has eaten up, which is scarring. This is called pyelonephritis. We can also detect cancers. We can see how many blood flow is there prior to transplant. So this is the latest technology where we do angiogram without even giving any injection or putting a catheter like they do in cardiac angio. This is done by CT scan machine called CT axial angiogram. Voiding cystourethrogram is a test done to see the renal structure and its function. It is a special test where the bladder is filled with contrast. Once the bladder is filled, a catheter is removed and patient is asked to pass urine. X-rays are taken at short interval when the person is passing urine. So this will definitely show if the urine is going reverse direction back to the kidney, and this is called as varicourethral reflex, which is the most common abnormality in the urinary bladder and urethra in children or sometime even in adult, which can lead to kidney failure. Normally the dye which is injected into the bladder has to pass out, but if it goes back into the kidney, we can see that the ureter is dilated and this kidney can get into scarring. So there is a weakness in the valve which doesn't allow urine to pass upwards. So if it is detected in an early stage, we can close this valve and make sure that the urine doesn't go back to the kidney and damage it. Another test that is done is cystoscopy. A physician passes a video scope and there he sees the urinary bladder to see if it is having any cancer growth or there is a block in the passage of urine, maybe because of stone or any blood clot. So this procedure is called cystoscopy. There are other advanced investigation to see how much percentage of kidney is functioning, which is called isotope renogram. A nuclear dye is injected, it goes to the kidney and the gamma camera picks up the percentage of filtration of these dye, which then gives us the value of GFR, that is glomerular filtration rate. This is very safe and can see even the structural abnormality. The other latest and more expensive are PET-CT or PET-MRI. PET is positron emission tomography, where we inject a sugar coated with a nuclear material. So whenever any cells take up the sugar, they start emitting certain rays which is picked up by the gamma camera. So this is very useful in conditions like infection and cancers, where cancer cells eat up the sugar very fast and they take up more sugar than the normal cells. So this is a nuclear scan picture which shows excretion, accumulation of the nuclear material in the kidney, and it shows a normal function. This is same PET scan where we can see wherever the dye takes up sugar, there is a radiation seen, like in the brain, both the kidneys and the urinary bladder. So this is PET-CT, and more advanced nowadays is PET-MRI, or this kind of accurate picture which can show even certain small lesions in the urinary tract. It also shows the blood vessel, it also shows a IVP image. So here you can see the volume of the kidney, what is the size of the kidney, anatomy of the ureter, bladder, and also the blood supply to the kidney. And here you see there is a cancer which is 25 ml in volume attached to this pole of the kidney, which is clearly seen, which would have otherwise missed in other investigation. Now once we have seen kidney non-invasive, we can also take a tissue sample from the kidney by what is called kidney biopsy. So in certain kidney disease where we need to see the filter's quality and health, we do kidney biopsy. Ultrasound is done to know the position of the kidneys. Once we know the size of the kidney and the position, patient is admitted, his consent is obtained, and we make sure this blood pressure is normal, he does not have any abnormal bleeding tendency, and also stop those drugs which can cause bleeding. A special automatic gun needle is used under CT or ultrasound guidance, sometimes laparoscopy, to get a small tissue of the kidney. So this is the kidney biopsy gun, this is the ultrasound probe. So the needle goes to the kidney and we take a small tissue under ultrasound guidance for doing a microscopic analysis. So kidney tissue that is taken out is then sent to the lab to see what is wrong within the kidney, and it is seen first under the light microscopy, then special immunofluorescence stain is put to see what is depositing in the filter. Further we do electron microscopy, and in certain cases like transplantation, special stains are used even in amyloidosis or to differentiate one disease from the other, especially in immune kidney damage and transplantation. So in light microscopy, this is the filter of the kidney. These are all the filters. This is the blood vessel. So this we call it as a glomeruli, which is present within an outer capsule, and this is the urinary space. Special stain immunofluorescence shows there are lot of antibodies which is getting deposited in the filters, and these are the ones which is damaging the kidney. And in electron microscope we can see the blood vessel, which then ends up in a tuft of glomeruli, which are all the filters. There are more than 1 billion filters which do the filtration function, and each filter is connected to a blood vessel. This is an electron microscope picture where you can see that each blood filtering unit, like coil of snake, is covered by a finger-like net-like mesh structure. These are called podocytes. So this podocyte is covering a blood vessel like a finger or like an octopus, and through this space the urine gets filtered, and these are called pores. So the blood passes here, there is one layer of endothelium, then comes the membrane, and then comes the podocyte. So RBCs cannot pass through it, proteins cannot pass through it, only salt and minerals can get across this, even the sugar, and this is Bowman space. So this crossing of this is called glomerular filtration, because only the watery portion can filter through this meshwork. Technologies use or fine needle aspiration biopsy or urinary cells which comes out or sent for genetic analysis and also for staining. Thank you.